Hello, Lisa Marie. Thank you for joining us.
What's happening, my beautiful friends? How's everybody today?
Good,
Good.
good. We're just.
Where's the birthday presents?
Oh, it's your birthday?
My birthday was last Saturday. I came on a week later to give you time to get them.
Oh, happy birthday!
No, the presents. No, the presents.
You should have sent us a message. Then we would have been prepared. We would have had a whole background for you and everything, like the whole streamers
My
for the
bad
whole
on that.
time.
I didn't share that with you. My bad.
You
Happy
failed me,
belated.
Mike.
Happy
Too.
belated.
Happy belated
Lisa,
birthday,
thank
yeah.
you for
Right?
joining us. Jordan, break down the topic to Lisa. So
Hold on
So,
a second. Let me get my
Lisa,
headphones because, football's on, so we're trying to multitask. It's
I see the
the
jersey
jersey.
on.
it's NFL Sunday, yeah.
But that's devotion. Thank you for sharing your NFL Sunday with us.
Just so my friend was like, "You got to jump on now," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Uncle Mike, needs me, so whatever Uncle Mike needs, we got him."
Oh,
I
see?
get it.
Family.
Family, you feel me? Don't pull
Perfect
up. Don't
example.
pull up. Don't pull up. You feel me?
All right, so get me excited about the topic this week. What do we got going
All
on?
right. So, this is kind of a continuation of the last episode that you were on. We were talking about unhealthy relationships, but now we're talking about navigating unhealthy relationships within the family unit. So that's what we're dealing with today. So the question that we originally asked was, what does family mean to you?
Family is something that can get misconstrued. It doesn't have to be biological. Me personally, myself, I'm adopted. So I was raised by an Italian and Polish man when I was 9 months all the way to this current moment. So family is not something that's biological. Loyalty. See, some of your biggest traumas come from your family. Just being honest. Things that you see, things that you go through. And it takes you as an individual to decide whether you're going to continue those routines or if you're going to break those chains and do things a little bit different. I love my mom and dad to death, and I wouldn't change it for anything in the world. They had an opportunity to have children the unethical way. And they decided to adopt two children that were not of their race. Back in the 80s, that wasn't something that was frowned upon. It was either you had children of the same race and you grew them into your foundation, or if you had children of a different race, you were raising them to be something that they weren't. And with that being said, my dad didn't know how to give us the Latin culture that we grew up with. I'm Colombian. My brother's Colombian. So what he did was so strategic. He moved us into a neighborhood where everybody around us was Latin. And I learned my cultures from, and Mike, you can be honest, I learned my cultures from everybody. So I can tell you that I have some Puerto Rican traditions, I have Colombian traditions, Ecuadorian, Venezuelan, but he couldn't give us that culture that he could give. Now I've got some Polish traditions that I know about, as well as some Italian traditions, but he couldn't give us what we needed for us to have our identities. So he did the best that they could. And by doing that, they moved us into a Latin culture neighborhood, predominantly Hispanic. Our school was predominantly Hispanic, the area that we were in. So I learned everything cultural wise from everybody around me and adapted what worked best for us.
Right.
But yeah, loyalty is something that, in my personal opinion, is key when it comes to family.
Right. I love that. And the follow-up question we had to that was, how do your expectations of what family means to you align with your actual blood relationships?
Complete opposite. Complete opposite. So I have a brother who is not biologically my brother, but we adopted him shortly after myself was adopted. And we grew up in the same household. And it took me 6 months to almost a year ago to find out that although we were brought up in the same home, same morals, same everything, we are not DNA the same. My brother and I don't get along. We don't talk. After my dad passed 3 years ago, he was supposed to step up. That's just what you're supposed to do. I had to step up without being told It's your time to pick the ball up and run, which means I inherited my mom. Traditionally, you don't see Latin cultures putting their families in homes. You'll usually see them in the homes of your Latin friends. It's just a cultural thing. So I won't put her in a home. So I inherited my mom, and my brother was supposed to help. It's supposed to be 50-50. Everything on your end, you take her to your side of the town. Everything on my side of town, I'll take her, and so forth. And he just didn't step up. We were estranged 2 years prior to my dad passing over something petty, just being honest, a miscommunication. And as my dad knew his time was coming, he filled out a will, and I had power of attorney. And I asked my brother if he wanted to continue this route. COVID had just happened. We lost over 1.5 million people to it. We weren't able to see families. You guys experienced the pandemic. You know how many people were lost. And I asked my brother if he wanted to continue that route. And he said no. So me and my son started hanging out with my brother and things of that sort. And then my brother was holding on to some unresolved issues in regards to adoption. He takes adoption as a form of I was left behind, as opposed to the blessing that it is.
Right.
Yeah, you may have been left behind by whatever that creature is that birthed you, but in the same sense, you were found, you were raised, you had a roof over your head, you have opportunities and blessings, and your kids now. He doesn't look at it like that, like I do. And I said, "Are you sure you want to go down this route?" Long story short, and he was like, "No." I start hanging out with him, and he was, disclosed to me that he felt abandoned. And when mom and dad didn't talk to him for the 2 years over the petty, he said he felt abandoned by my parents, our parents. So I told my dad about it. My dad reached out to him, and that was one of the things. We may get in a big argument. We go out to a big meal, sit down, have a conversation. We're over it. You know what I mean? No one actually says sorry, but we move on to the next. We don't hold that grudge. And my dad offered to take my brother out for his birthday. And my brother said, "No, I'm just not ready to talk to you guys about it." And then 3 weeks later, my dad passed without my brother resolving that issue, confessing how he felt to them personally on what he felt about them not talking in the 2 years and things of that sort. And my brother now has to live with that.
Right.
To the point where he won't even come to the house to help his mom. So we haven't seen my brother in about 2.5, 3 years. We were raised in the same house. We have the same morals. Divorce is not an option. When you find the person that you want to be with, you spend the rest of your life. You therapy, you do the things, you make the work, you do the time. But unfortunately, he didn't go that route. He ended up getting a divorce, being promiscuous, doing things that you're not supposed to do in a marriage that resulted in ending up in divorce. So DNA doesn't always make a family, in my personal opinion. And Mike knew I grew up when my brother, I had to fight for my brother because he's not a fighter. That's how close we were, to the point where we don't talk at all. Not even holidays, birthdays, or anything like that. So I don't know what people's foundation of family is, but it's not something that you can make. Family are the people who are there when you need them, even when you think you don't need them.